I
In
think
for
we're
number
good.
2?
Number 2.
All right, Real Life Bowling Podcast number 2.
Number 2. All right.
Yeah, I like it.
So
We've
let's
gone up a
just
whole 50-something subscribers in the
yeah.
past 3 days. That's pretty awesome.
And everyone liked it so far, so let's keep going.
Yep. We took a couple criticisms from everyone. We're trying to make it
Yep.
better, obviously, as we can. Little by little, we're going to figure out what works for us, but
That's
we're still going to
exactly
keep
right.
it pretty loose and relaxed. So, um,
Here
so yeah,
is
there you go. We
this
wanted to shout
one.
out
Yep.
one of our supporters in this podcast, 12 bagger, Gerald Richardson. He also works for Bowlers Martin and Coolwick. Phenomenal guy. He just want us to give us a shout out. He's always been a supporter of ours. We're gonna hopefully get some 12 bagger t-shirts here in the near future. So if you guys want to check that out, he also has a section on there for us, where our podcast and everything will go. So you can check those out on there. And just an overall awesome dude. A lot of great stuff to
A lot
say
of
and a lot of awesome
stuff.
products.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah. So we appreciate him.
All right.
So the topic of this podcast is going to be Motiv, pretty much. We're going to just
Yeah.
talk everything and all things Motiv for this podcast, however long it lasts, and we'll kind of go from there. So
Hashtag Motive Monday, because this will be posted on
Motiv
Monday.
Correct. We're going to try to make that our Motiv Monday thing, some form of podcast or ball review or something involving the company.
Exactly.
So, we pretty much said at the last one, we both made the change pretty quickly. Not
Exactly.
a whole lot of time to get used to the bowling balls, but we definitely wanted to talk
literally
about
no
the
time
product
for you to get used to bowling balls.
I
Literally no
drilled
time.
4. Yeah, I drilled like 4 or 5 balls.
But you bowled
really like what I
300.
see, though.
You bowled 300 like right out the gate. Which one did you bowl 300 with?
I did it with the covert tank. That was I just really like that bowling ball. It's very interesting for me. It's a microcell polymer bowling ball, so it's not urethane, it's not reactive. It's a kind of a mix. I feel it gives me like the control of traditional urethane. It hooks a decent amount more than urethane would for most people because it's got a really big core, a really strong engine in it. But it's a little bit faster off of the spot. So for me, it gives me every bit of control that you get out of urethane, but just that little extra down lane motion that a reactive ball gives you. And it lets me play, my A game, a little more shallow angles. So on my house shot, they hook a bunch, and there's a lot of hook to my left and a lot of oil to the right. So for me, this bowling ball let me kind of stay closer to the dry, and it didn't overreact off of the dry. And I was far enough away from the puddle in the middle that if I missed in, it was high flush. It wouldn't hit the puddle of oil and kind of back up and go straight. So
What
for
did you
me
end
to
up
have a
bowling for the
medium,
night?
I bowled 787. I bowled 260. I bowled 2T in the middle game because no, because I bowled 300 the last game, so it didn't matter. But the middle game was learning what the bowling ball did. Like I flat 7 like 4 or 5 times, trying to figure out what the move with this bowling ball was. I kind of just wanted to throw it all night. I mean, I care about league, but I want to win. But I also kind of want to learn the bowling balls because I knew, they're brand new to me. So the bowling ball started to get a little lazy down lane. It started to get smooth out and kind of just lose its energy. So I kind of tried to make it work. And then what I ended up doing for the 300 game was I ended up moving my feet to the right and creating a little bit more rotation on the bowling ball and getting it to the friction a little faster to create a different angle going down the lane. And that got rid of the 7 pins. And obviously they all fell for 12 shots. So that's something I cannot do with traditional urethane bowling balls whatsoever. So I didn't know that. That's just something I kind of had to learn on the fly, that these bowling balls, at least the covert, I can kind of open my angles a little bit and create a little bit more motion through the front part, a little more angle through the front part of the lane than I could with traditional bowling balls. So I thought that was pretty awesome. Yeah, that's what I mean. Traditional urethane balls. Yeah, because they don't have.
That makes sense.
Most of them don't have a strong enough core to do it for me, and the ones that do, they're so early that you can't give away the head pin with my rev rate. So
fair enough. Yeah, closest I've gotten is 297, and I definitely choked it off. But it was on there, so I'll take it.
Yeah, that was in a tournament setting. You really like the tank blitz though, the other microcell polymer.
The blitz, yeah, I like the blitz a lot more. The covert tank for me, just it hooked too much down lane. It was too continuous for me. The blitz is a little more diggier, a little earlier, so I get to throw it. I get to throw it like just as urethane on steroids. Like that's how I use it. We bowled on Bear. I think this one's 41 feet, 40 feet. it changes so often.
Yeah, year to
You
year.
never know which one. Yeah, you never know which one you're bowling on. But yeah, this one was the 2-to-1, 2.1 to
Okay, it's
1.
got a little
Yeah,
more shape,
2-to-1.
little
Yeah,
more shape to the pattern.
just a little bit. Yeah, so a lot of hook down lane. Actually, a decent amount of oil on the lane. We're bowling at Boardwalk. Decent surfaces there. Um, and I hit the blitz with 500. Used it pretty much as urethane, and did that for about 4 games. And then I got into the Rogue Assassin benchmark ball, pretty round, 5-inch layout on that, and then just moved left through right and ended up bowling pretty good back set. Really,
It's you got second,
I
right? You
finished
just
second. Yeah,
yeah, you got super close. Yeah,
it
that had to
wasn't
feel
bad at all.
pretty good with these bowling balls because, like you said, you kind of just got thrown into them and you didn't really bowl good for a little while because you had to readjust your eye a little bit.
Exactly, and it was me too. I mean, just everything changed at once.
Yeah.
I had a PAP issue. As check your PAP, everybody. Had a PAP issue for a while too. Um,
Yes.
Found out that my PAP was about an inch off, which for that don't know it, that's a lot, and that do know it, it's funny. So, so
Yeah. Yeah. It's huge difference, especially again at your rev rate too. Whenever the rev rate goes up, I feel by about 50 RPMs. Every little difference gets amplified that much more. I think the
exactly,
50 RPM threshold, from 375 to 510, an inch is monumentally different.
exactly, no, exactly. So everything thought was 5 was 4. Everything thought was 4 was 3. So it just
Yeah.
your eye is really not good. But yeah,
Yeah.
so
I have a blitz. It's for me, it's definitely like you said, a lot diggier, a lot slower down lane than the covert. But overall, as like a urethane, they hook. I mean, I'm coming from throwing purple hammers and black hammers. They outhook those bowling balls, but they're not really supposed to be like those bowling balls. So if you guys are looking for urethane motion, the covert and the blitz more so will give it to you, but it's a lot more hook. So you're not going to be able to play as straight. So these are going to be better for like those we talked about it, like
yeah,
37 to
37, 38,
40-ish
depending
foot.
on yeah. I could get away. I've thrown the blitz on maybe about 41, 42. I mean, people have thrown purple hammers on 45. So
Correct. Yeah.
you
I
could
mean,
get
that bowling ball is just different, but
yeah.
for this motion, they don't roll exactly like black hammer, pitch black, U motion. I think is the Brunswick one.
U
They don't.
motion is the new big hooking one.
Yeah, they don't roll like that, but they're not
Yeah,
supposed to. This cover stock technology is way different, so they just roll like microcell polymer balls, which I'm liking
it's
quite a bit. And I think once I get to bowl on some actual patterns, I'm gonna really see how
yeah.
good they are.
I thought those were going to be your favorites right out the gate.
Yeah.
Just about yeah. That was
Low key though, that Supra is. I mean, I think I've been bowling for what is it? I've been bowling for coming up on 16 years, and we'll take the first 6 years out of play. So let's say like 10 years of maybe knowing what I was doing. It's kind of. I think I've liked 3 shiny higher G balls ever, and this one's going to be like the best one out of all of them.
it's because it's got differential.
Correct. Correct.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Like I said, for me, I don't like bowling balls that are really clean, get really far down the lane, and have a faster response time to friction. I really never have, even when I didn't really know what I was doing. I kind of strayed away from those bowling balls. But like he said, it's got differential, so it's got a core that still wants to create some mid lane motion, is what I feel. It's clean, but it doesn't just shoot through the first 40 feet. It definitely wants to kind of dig into the lane a little bit, and then it's continuous down lane, and it just I think it's going to be my favorite shiny ball that we have right now.
And you haven't got a chance to really throw the Nemesis yet.
Very little in the
Yeah, I haven't got a
Nemesis.
chance to that one yet.
I have my shipment sent to me. I just haven't really got a whole lot of chance to use it yet. But
Not a lot of places can bowl right now.
correct. Yeah. So, but I'm looking forward to definitely getting some more time in with these bowling balls because I just feel like as a whole, they just fit my eye better. Like you even said it. I've sent him a couple of videos of me throwing these bowling balls, and they just look like it's coming off my hand better because I kind of already like what I see, and I'm not trying to manufacture anything. Or I have a little bit more confidence for them right off the bat, rather than when you change and you see something you don't like, your body, at least for me, kind of like reacts like, "Whoa, what was that?" And then it kind of puts you in a little mini slump for a
That's
little
pretty
while.
much happened to me. Like we talked last time. Like it pretty much happened to me. Like I was used to just bowling balls that were so fast off the spot that when I had
Fast everywhere.
fast everywhere. I mean, even the slow ones are fast.
Mm-hmm.
So switching to these, it kind of just just predictability. That's what I'm in love with right now is the predictability.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure, for sure. So why don't we talk about like the motions we've traditionally bowled well with? I mean, you can. I don't know if you want to start first on that one. Like, just what motions you've liked over the years that you
It,
see out of the Motiv balls, or
yeah, I mean, low differential. I like the shock. I love the shock. The shock is unbelievable. I like the IQ
you liked
tour.
the shock. You liked the shock when it came out, like
I
4 or
like.
5 years ago.
I've had what I'm up to 6 shocks, 7 shocks lifetime. I've drilled now.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
the
only
ball
one
is
or two has been on staff.
exactly. It's just the ball's unbelievably just benchmarky for me. A lot of people don't really see it as a benchmark ball. I see it as a benchmark ball. Like I love that being the first ball out of the bag. That and the Rogue Assassins would always be my first ball out of my bag. But I always go to balls that flare less. I have a track record for liking balls that flare less. I do not want my ball to hook up front. That is my complaint. Always. And balls that flare less don't hook up. They don't hook as fast, so they don't hook up front as much.
So on a counterpoint to that, someone would ask, well, then why don't you just throw shinier bowling balls?
Well, see, because even when a ball is shiny and it's still flaring, it's still digging. That's the thing. If the ball is spinning a lot, it is hooking sooner. Now, when you put shine on it, it'll save some energy and then it'll be faster when it unloads its energy. So realistically, that's almost a double negative for what I'm looking for. I want balls that don't hook up front and that are smooth down lane because I like creating motion. I think that's also another thing like different kind of bowlers. Some bowlers like to manage the friction, some bowlers like to create the friction, they like to play the oil, they like to play the hold, they like to play the hook. There's a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the guy that I want my ball to hold, and if it hooks, I want to make my ball hook.
And
And you,
that's no.
yeah,
I'm the
exactly.
exact opposite. I will literally try to set my ball down in the fire of dirt, of oil, or of friction, and I want to see my ball hook immediately. And then I can manage my ball hooking too much. It's when my bowling ball doesn't hook enough, not even up front anymore, because that's I've never really worried about my bowling ball hooking up front since I've gotten better with my hand being a little bit more behind it and getting the ball to reach sooner. It's when my bowling ball, I'll try to explain this best I can, doesn't hook because it hooks too much. And what I mean by that is that my bowling ball uses all of its energy in the wrong spot and it will miss the head pin. And I used to perceive that as the lane was tighter, the ball was too clean, I threw it too hard, I missed it off my hand, whatever it was. But I'm really learning now that, especially in the environments that we bowl on, my bowling ball is going to hook every time. It's just where it hooks and how it hooks off of the end of the pattern. And I'm learning that, oh, my bowling ball went too long. Okay, well, or my bowling ball didn't hit the head pin. I'm in too much friction. I need to find oil to get my bowling ball to retain energy, and then I will see what I want to see out of the motion of the bowling ball.
Well, why can't you just move right to get more oil like we move left?
Because the patterns aren't made that way.
There you go.
The patterns are a lot flatter. So especially on my side of the lane, again, they're just flatter overall. So if I move, I have to almost parallel the moves. I can't just move into more fronts and then try to throw it to more friction. It just doesn't work that way. So my angles, 9 times out of 10, always have to be a lot more shallow and a lot more in front of me. Then what I can do is I can either change my rotation on the bowling ball, or I can go to something cleaner. But when I go to something cleaner, I still need core. So for me, like a cleaner asymmetrical bowling ball would be probably pretty good moving closer to the head pin because it's still got a big enough engine to kind of help me out a little bit. I very rarely will ever go from like a dull asymmetrical bowling ball to a Supra. I won't go from an Alpha Jackal to a Supra, even though my bowling ball's hooking too early. That's too big of a move for me. Where I might go from an Alpha Jackal, move right, find more oil, and then look into like a Trident Nemesis or something like that to still give me that motion from the core, but the cleanness of the cover. Where on the right side, you guys beat him up to the right, and then you have a little bit of right to throw into him. So you could be very well using an Alpha Jackal or something straight on the fresh, and then make a 2-zone move in, and then throw a Supra. Like that's not out of the realm of possibility for you, where that will
Correct.
never happen on my side of the lane ever.
Correct. It's sometimes you have to double move on our side of the lane where it's or you're literally playing two completely opposite games within one game.
Yes.
It's you're
Talk about that
camping
for a
right.
second.
Yeah, this happens more in match play, right? Where everyone tends to break down lanes differently. You got the guys that in match play like to play them straight. You got the guys that like to hook them. So round robin is pretty much what I'm talking about right here. Where you're you're bowling your first match, then you both guys that like to hook it. So you're both hooking them, blah blah. Then you go to next pair. No one played right of 10 on that pair.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have to make 15, 20, an entire game plan, ball change. You're bowling a completely different tournament on that next lane because of how it was broken down. And then the next pair, you go to the pair that maybe half and half. Guy started here, guy started left, guy started right. And then you have to, so it's constantly balancing those different zone changes of where just play simply where people played has it totally irrelevant to the pattern.
Yeah, and on your side of the lane, you have to be ahead of it because, like we talked about before, you 4-pin, you 5 and 3 because you'd rather go light mixer than go high flush because you're going to go light mixer, then you're probably going to go a little higher, and then you're going
Because
to
they
split.
change so
You're going to go high
fast.
flush.
Correct. They change so fast. I mean, unless you're bowling on a mound of oil and there's not a lot of people on your pair, but if you're bowling a qualifying block with 5 guys on a pair, they're all right-handed, they all have 500 rev rate, you're not staying in the same spot for more than 3 frames if you're
Mm-hmm.
lucky.
Yeah,
You move
literally.
in. I, I like making halves, and I know you make fun of me, but I like making halves more often than just making bigger moves because then it keeps me, I half this frame, I half every frame instead of just making 2 and 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 1, or
Mhm.
big move 5 and 3, something like that.
And I feel with these bowling balls, they actually like the smaller micromanage moves a little
They
bit more.
100% like the smaller micromanaged moves more. The
Yeah.
reason why that is because of what they do with cliffs. I've noticed like these balls really tell me where the wet dry is.
Okay.
Like directly on the line of the wet dry. Here's my friction, here's my oil. And they're very, very clear when they tell me that. When I was doing a lot of the storm stuff, they hook every time. So I would 4-pin, move 5, 4-pin, move 5, big 4. Well, why did it do that? Because I got so steep that the ball saved too much energy and hooked even more as I was moving left. So that made me have to do it with my hand, and I don't like rolling it more than
It's
I'm
not.
already rolling it.
Yeah.
Like I'm rolling it more than I ever have. Anybody that knows me knows that. I worked a long time. I used to have a lot of axe rotation. A lot of axe rotation does not look very good on anything less than 42 feet. So I was very bad on anything less than 42 feet for a long time. But I fixed that and I'm good at it. But me having to roll it more is something I'm very uncomfortable with. So I would just rather throw bowling balls that just let my hand do what it wants to do, and then I'll move to that because it's just easier to bowl that way than manufacturing ball motion.
Well, going along with that, I know you have a video queued up of the flight and the regular ripcord, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a ball review that we posted. Well, if you're posting this on Monday, this will be posted on Thursday for you guys to check out. It's going to show the difference between the ripcord flight and the original ripcord, where it kind of goes along with what he was talking about, where we have a cover and a cover on the flight, which is a lot smoother overall, a lot more stable, a lot more predictable rolling, as you're going to see here.
Does the video
And
look
then
good?
later,
Quick. Video look good?
yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah, it looks fine. Seamless. So he was bowling on a incredibly broken down house shot. You said right? Like it was kind of just
Incredibly broken down house shot. Probably at least 1 day old. So if you notice
okay.
when you watch this, I actually have to get over the fronts a little bit
Mm-hmm.
to make the slower cover ball look a little bit better. It looked okay. I threw
Yeah.
I threw like a 5 or 6 bagger in here.
Right. And this is kind of where it lets him do what he wants. He can kind of get around it if he needs to. It lets him be aggressive with his hand. He doesn't have to worry about overhitting it or anything like that. It kind of lets him do what he wants to do, and it at least lets him control the pocket. It may not have been the
This
best
shot
for
right
what
here.
he was
That
bowling
one
on.
was a good shot.
It may not have been the exact perfect bowling ball for what he was bowling on, but you're going to see here when he switches to the regular ripcord,
This
the
is the
first
clean
few
one.
shots.
And this first shot is in the exact same part of the lane, and you see it just sideways down lane. I moved a little bit, and then I made the big move. You could see the angle up front that I had to change to with these next 2 shots, and they look way better.
Yes. So that's the difference between the covers. So now someone looking in on this who doesn't really, know why would the shiny bowling ball, the weaker bowling ball, so to speak, hook that much more?
Okay. Energy transfer. The entire game of bowling is about energy transfer. So, let me just, that's annoying me. The entire game of bowling is energy transfer. So a cleaner ball, you got to remember these are the same exact cores. So I have no variables with the cores. It's simply clean cover, slow cover, clean cover, fast cover, or fast cover, slow cover, dull cover,
Dull
shiny
ball,
cover,
shiny ball, whatever you want to
however
call
you want
it.
to say it. Those are the different ways. So the cleaner ball gets down the lane further, which means it saved more energy. That means it has more energy to use down lane. So when it uses more energy down lane, it hooks more down lane. Then the earlier ball that started sooner, slowed down faster, hooked less down lane. This is something that is missed on a vast majority of people that bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They think that hook, left to right hook from front to back hook. And that's kind of
Correct.
like your league bowler to your high level tournament player, even low level tournament players. They try to seem left to right, and they bowl good when they match up. They bowl bad when they don't. It's the guys that really seem front to back that are more consistent. Do you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, I was watching this video on from the USBC. I believe it was Brian O'Keefe was talking about ball motion, how they explain it to their players, and it's like the lane is 60 feet long versus 41 inches, and I should really know this. I can't remember what it is, but drastically longer than it is in width. So why would
39
you
inches
look at
wide.
39? It's 41 boards. That's what I'm thinking of. Maybe, or I don't know.
It's
Whatever.
39
I'm gonna,
boards.
no, I think it's whatever.
39
Yeah, I'm gonna get
boards.
roasted. I'm gonna
You,
get
you
roasted
count
now
you
for
count
this.
the middle board twice as you go back and forth. It's 39 boards.
Okay, there you go.
Roast them in the comments.
Oh, I can't wait. It's gonna be great. But why are we worrying about what a bowling ball is doing in a 39-inch window rather than a 60-foot window? So that's the bigger variable that you need to start looking at. So I mean, a bowling ball can only hook this way so much, but what it does front and back is drastically different and more important.
So, and that's why matching covers is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And in the South region, that's where we bowl most of the time. They hook a lot up front. So
A
when
lot of old
people are
centers,
a lot of older centers, we used to have some wood
HBLs.
centers. It's mostly HPLs. So many HPLs. HPLs hook a lot, and they're old. I mean, most HPLs are what 30 years old.
Yeah, and even if they're
30
not,
years
they
old.
already start high friction as it is.
Exactly. So and that's why it's all about. So it's all about the cover, and that's why I lean towards shinier stuff. He actually leans towards solid stuff most of the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least that's the
Yeah.
way. Okay, because it's slower for him, and that's the rev rate thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, I can almost get through an entire block without throwing a shiny bowling ball most of the time, just because of the way that my side of the lane breaks down. But like I said, I'm starting to kind of use not I wouldn't say the cover is shiny, but it's a cleaner cover. I may not have polish on it, but it won't be a solid bowling ball. It'll be a bowling ball that's designed to get through the front part a little bit more. But I'll use layout and core to make it do what I want to do in like the 30 to 40 foot zone, rather than just doing it all with just all cover and everything like that.
And that brings me to a good point on why so many lefties on tour throw urethane.
Yeah, it's the most predictable. You can use as much surface on it as you want. It's gonna basically do the exact same thing every time. It's gonna tell you, okay, you can't be here. You got to be here. It's very telling on what you need to do and where you need to be, basically.
Exactly. No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Um, that's kind of my take on it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really think these bowling balls are gonna be what I wanted to see, and I won't have to change me as much. I can just go bowl and just let the bowling balls tell me
That's
what
how
to
I
do.
felt. That's how I felt. I mean, we talked to a lot of people that have thrown everything on every level, and
Mhm.
we kind of both. It's weird as different as our games have been. We grew up in the same center. We grew up in Spring Hill Lanes,
Yep.
old surface that no one's ever heard of before. They were snot tight. I mean, you could not hook them in this building. Sometimes they would carry down.
Oh
And
God.
yeah, they would carry. I've still never seen carry down to like this to this day than what I used to get on Friday nights and Saturday morning youth leagues. Okay, like so he adapted by getting his ball to hook as early as he could, and I adapted by hitting it as hard as I possibly could.
Hmm.
And so, and that's all it is. We are products of our environment. I think that's the main thing about bowling. You could tell where someone grew up just by the way they throw it.
Yeah, you could tell if someone grew up on hook, or if they grew up on oil, or if they grew up on, you know, you can kind of see it. If someone super bangs on it, or is really soft and like super soft speed, or a lot of access, or you can just see it. And obviously we work to kind of get away from that. We've gotten better, but it's still there
Yeah,
at
because
the
you have to
at our, in
change
our
your game
DNA.
to be. Yeah, you have to change your game to be as versatile as possible when you want to
Yeah,
bowl every week. Like if you're trying to bowl every week at a different center every week, you just gotta be versatile. There's just no way around that.
you have to have 4A games.
You have to have 4A games. Exactly right. You have to have 4A games.
Yeah. So if you could if you could create a bowling ball, like let's say you could go to Motiv's plant and be like, I want this core on this cover, what would you do?
So I've thrown for a few months now, and I have two. I want to see an MCP ball with a asymmetric core in it. I would love to see what that does for no reason, just then pure curiosity. That's pure curiosity. I just want to see what that does. But what
Just
I
see
want
if
to
it's
see in,
amazing.
yeah, I just want to see pure curiosity because I've seen some asymmetric urethane balls that look good, and then I've seen some that look very bad. So I would like to, I would like to see what these do because these covers are definitely different. Um, Now, one that I want just in my hand, I want the Ghost cover with the Venom Shock core, just
Okay.
purely my hand.
Why?
The cover is smooth like a solid ball, not over diggy, and the Venom Shock core. It, I don't know. I honestly don't know why I like it so much. I just really do like it so much, and I've liked it from the first one I've drilled 6 years ago to now. And they look just as good as me to whichever layout I put on it. It doesn't matter. I love that core. And
Okay.
like I said, I've liked the Venom shot. I like the IQ tours as well. That was one of my favorite cores as well. It's the same general numbers. You're talking
Yeah.
248 030s. That's just what I like. What about you?
Cool. So I actually have three because I've been thinking about this all day because I'm like, I knew I wanted to ask this question. Again, limited experience, but they're all actually going to base around the Supra, but in different iterations. So I'd love to see the Covert tank, which is a 250052 diff or 051. So
051.
it's a 051. It's a lot of diff, but it's like that. It's not. It's like that right middle range RG. It looks really good. I'd like to see that core with the Supra cover around it because that's
I
just going
kind
to
of
take
agree
the
with that.
Supra.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
kind of
that's
agree with that.
this.
Yeah.
The Supra is 257050. So it's going to just take that RG and knock it down to 250, and then that just becomes a Marvel Pearl, big shiny
Mhm.
type bowling ball like that you could use on oil because it's got such a big engine, but it's still clean enough that when you start to go through that first transition, mostly on your side, but on that first transition where the fronts get beat up, you could still use that big enough ball, kind of like a Forged Fire, but cleaner than a Forged Fire.
Forge Fire, a lot of differential. A lot of them.
Yeah, lot. That's 05, 054,
050.
247, and
Yeah.
that cover is just the cover wants to. But I think that ball still that ball still hooks pretty decent amount down lane. I think
Yeah,
for
that
what it
ball.
is.
Yeah, that ball hooks a ton. Absolute
Okay.
ton everywhere.
Um, then on the flip side of that, I'd like to see a solid Supra. I think like the Supra with like the Venom
Okay.
Shock cover. I think that would be for me. I think that would be a ball I'd use a ton. Right now, the Ripcord Flight feels like that ball for me.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean that's pretty much what. Yeah, that's pretty
yeah, I'm
much.
kind of splitting hairs here, but when the first Ripcord came out, or like when I was, thinking about signing, and they had the Ripcord, and I was looking at the numbers, it's that 253047, that like mid everything. I'm like, man,
Which
that
are
looked really
very
good with
rare.
this. Yeah, you don't see
Those
those
numbers are
anymore.
very rare. You do not see those. There's 253 does not happen a lot anymore. The
Yeah,
last one in my
you see
memory
two five
is
five and up, and then
exactly 255 and up, and then 250 and down.
correct.
In between is pretty rare.
Yeah. So when I saw that bowling ball, I'm like, that would look really good with the solid. And then they came out with it. I'm like, okay. So basically, the ball they already made, and then the two, like I said, a solid Supra, and then the covert tank with a Supra cover. I think that would be super usable on my side of the lane, for different reasons.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair
So
enough.
Brett, you need to get on that if he's
So
watching this far
like
into the video.
you're right. Um, so layouts.
Okay.
What what do you want to try, and what do you think you're gonna like? What have you noticed from? Because now you've thrown Storm,
Mm-hmm.
EBI brands,
Mm-hmm.
and now Motive. What
I've been
has the
everywhere.
what is the difference in layouts that you've seen?
All right. So when I was throwing storm bowling balls, I absolutely hated pinup layouts on 85% of the bowling balls that I drilled. They were everything all at once. And it just didn't work for me. The bowling balls were so strong, and the clean balls are so clean, and the early balls are so early that up bowling balls would just do everything all at once and either go dead forward, or if I went to a clean bowling ball, they would hook so much and then stop that I had to make a zone change out of where I was at. Now, you know, being right-handed, you'd be like, oh, what a deal, just move an arrow. But for me, it's if I move an arrow, I'm literally bowling in a different center is what it feels like most of the time.
I know it's great. It's great when a lefty tells me they moved a lot. How much you moved today? Oh, I moved 5. Oh, I did that in a game. Cool.
Did that before practice was over.
Literally.
So with the storm bowling balls, I liked a ton of down layouts to smooth out that reaction. I only liked up on lower differential, smoother controlled bowling balls overall. Then when I went to the EBI balls, I had to drill bowling balls one of two ways. I had to go a little bit weaker because the covers by nature, they weren't necessarily earlier. They were just kind of slower. So I tried initially trying to create more motion by making them weaker, which actually just made it worse to start. Because for me, when I get a bowling ball that's weak, and I drill it weaker, let's say like 5.5 inches for me, because I roll it so much, those cleaner layouts, they just end up not doing anything and they just tumble dead over themselves most of the time.
Because of the rev rate.
Correct. They tumble dead over themselves because they're not flaring enough. The core isn't doing a whole lot. So if I get behind it and I roll it, they're pretty much going to tumble the whole way down the lane. And if they do make a motion, it's so far down the lane that it kind of just doesn't help me out a whole lot. So I ended up liking more pin-up layouts with these bowling balls because they didn't – when I drilled them a little stronger, they didn't go as forward as early because the covers didn't want to just do everything all at once. And I liked a lot stronger pin down layouts. I would traditionally do like 4 3/4 to 5 inches down on the storm bowling balls. I was doing anywhere between 4 and 4.5 down on asymmetrical and symmetrical bowling balls just to make them a little bit more continuous. Mm-hmm. Where with the storm bowling balls, I had to make them lay off more, if that makes sense.
That's exactly what I'm probably going to say too. What do you think the layouts are going to transfer into these balls?
Well, as the few that I've thrown so far, up actually looks really, really good. On the few that I've that Supra's up. I have a Tank Blitz that's up, and a couple other bowling balls that I'm going to drill up, and a couple that I've seen. Up looks a lot better because these core cover combinations, for whatever reason, don't do everything at once. Even on the quicker bowling balls, from what I'm noticing, they pivot and then they shape off of it and they continue a lot easier. They don't want to do like a jackknife, and they don't want to hook and then go dead forward, which is what typically would happen for me. So I think I'm going to like up a lot more, and I think I can probably get away with drilling the bigger bowling balls, like asymmetrical bowling balls, up and a little weaker because they're a little more rounder. They're a little rounder off of it. So even if they're not covering a whole lot of boards, if they just give me a shape I like to see off the end of the pattern, I think they could be very usable.
So in general, you're getting at these balls don't use all of their energy at once, whether that be sideways or forward.
Correct.
These balls use their energy gradually through the whole body of the motion.
Correct. Yeah, and then just cover stock determines where on the lane it does it. And then if you want it to do it a little faster, you put it up. If you want it to do it a little bit slower, you put it down. And then it's really as simple as, I need it to be as early as possible. I'll drill a stronger pin to PAP distance. I need it to be cleaner. I'll drill a weaker pin to PAP distance. The layouts and the ideas and the shapes that I have in my head make more sense with these bowling balls than they have in the past right off the bat. I'm not saying these are home runs. I mean, these are just all purely me bowling at home at my home center, being as comfortable as I could possibly be. So we'll see, whenever the world opens back up again and we bowl some stuff, what that's going to be. But just initial impressions. I mean, I had 3 sets with that covert tank, all over 750. One of them had a 300 in it, and I didn't change balls in the 9 games, and I averaged like 250, 260 in our house shot. And I hadn't been striking that much previously, and it's not like my physical game just got that much better overnight. Like I've been throwing it pretty good for a little while now, so it just put a ball in my hand that matched what my eye wanted to see and knocked him down, and I had more confidence immediately.
Yeah. I mean, I really think you covered it. I mean, we tend as complete opposites we like to see the game pretty similar, which is interesting. Yeah. But I saw the same thing when I threw the storm balls. They wanted to use all of their energy at one time, whether I got it to hook early or I got it to hook late. They used all of it at one time. And for me, that made me feel like I had to hit a needle down lane. I had to just hit
You
this thin line and have it come off this thin line and go into it. Great on house shots. I just can't complain about on house shots. But when they're flatter, that's when it got really difficult for me, where I felt like I had to get my hand in this position right here and kind of give it that like
you
shuffle
couldn't touch
roll.
the holes.
Yeah, I felt like I couldn't touch the holes. And for me, I mean, it's healing since I'm not bowling, but I shove my whole hand in the ball. I like to get it. I want to be holding on to it. I want that ball I want to feel it. And so that just it didn't match my philosophy for bowling. Now you can
Yeah.
always say you got to adjust, blah blah blah, but the the great bowlers, for the most part, make their A game work on everything. That's what I really learned because I used to be, oh, I bowled bad. Let me go back, practice, change. I was like that for a lot of years. You remember that? I was constantly working on my game, constantly trying to match myself to the lanes, but by changing myself rather than matching myself to the lanes just by being myself. Those were two distinctions that I wasn't seeing yet. What are you gonna say?
You were like I said, you were trying to match yourself to the environment you bowled bad in, and not trying to make yourself better. You were trying to
Correct.
you're trying to make
Correct.
yourself better on what you were really bad at, which is fine, but you tried to tear everything down to be like, why can't I do this? When it's like, well,
Correct.
yeah, but you could do these 10 other things really well.
Correct. Because I just have a problem with just not being good. I don't want to feel locked out. If I go out there and I don't bowl that
Don't be
great,
left-handed.
fine. If I just always want to feel like I have a chance. Like, okay, oh well, if I just did this, if I just made that ball change, that's fine with me. I hate putting my shoes on, throwing a ball, and being like, oh, not today. That's not how. That is left-handed. That's being left-handed. No,
Yeah, and I mean, again,
it's good and bad.
we get
Feast or
we get
famine. Feast or
correct.
famine.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in
That's
a
a
different
different
video because
conversation. Yeah, that's a different
I had a
conversation.
comment from Spencer Mosier who wanted me to kind of break down the whole left-handed thing and how I
Yes, I
see it.
saw
At
that.
least,
I saw that, and I
so
definitely want to
definitely
cover
we'll do
that.
that
Yeah, I definitely want to
for
cover that
sure.
because that's an unbelievable conversation that we've talked for ever about. So we can
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
conversation that just goes
Yep.
crazy. Um,
And when we're comparing Motive to these other companies, we're just saying what we like to see. We've both had success with Storm, and I've had
oh
success
yeah,
with EBI,
yeah.
and it's just
Bowling
like we
balls are
talked about.
bowling balls. Bowling
Yeah,
balls, they're all round. They all get the job done. The only problem is when a ball is quote unquote bad, it means you're not seeing it right, or it just simply does not match up to how you're throwing it. That is
yeah,
the only time a ball is bad.
yeah. With the way they make bowling balls now, like the way
Yeah,
they're produced, all the R&D that goes into them, like they're gonna roll good in a specific situation. Some are just
correct.
more specific than others. Literally, that's how I agree the same way. Like you know,
That's exactly right.
this
Now, what
bowling
was
ball is
I
gonna roll
saying?
good.
What was I saying?
You like to shove your hand into it.
Yeah,
You
so
had to hit a
so
thin
these
line.
balls, so these balls, the way they release energy
Mhm.
fits my eye better. And it's simply, oh, I'm bowling on this surface with at this length. I want a ball that's going to hook here, and then I can throw it because all their balls release energy the same way. Very, very round, very, very smooth. Then they have some that do it here, they have some that do it here, and they have some that do it further down the lane.
Mhm.
So it's very, very simple. And that brings me to this. I want to talk about this again because I think this is
Okay.
awesome, and I don't know why every single company does not do this. This is awesome.
Oh, the ball guide.
Yes, I as a pro shop guy, this is such a good tool to sell these balls with. And as a bowler, it's so good to when I'm struggling with like, where does this ball go in my bag? Now, obviously, like I said last video, like everybody's going to see them just a little bit differently. But this is a good
Mhm.
guide. Like, oh man, I'm bowling on the Sahara Desert this weekend, so I'm going to be in this range right here. I'm going to be in the balls that get further down the lane. So I could probably start with this one because this is a clean cover, bigger core. Probably start with this one, and as they break down, I'm going to go down this line. Or oh man, I'm bowling on like the cliff, so I want a ball like this, and then I go into down the line this way. So it all depends on the starting point, but this just gives such a good outline of their overall catalog of bowling balls that I
So
think.
you're saying that like their expectations, what their bowling balls do, are very on par for what they actually do.
Without calling any other companies out, sure, yeah.
Well, I'm saying they're very realistic of what they like. They have a bowling ball that does
Yes.
this one thing, and they say it does this exact thing, and they don't. They
Yes.
know they design a bowling ball for a purpose, and they're
Yes.
okay with that.
Yes. Yes. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Is they design a ball for a purpose, and I don't think any other company does it like on purpose or anything. But
No,
sometimes you drill a ball, you go by the numbers, you throw it, and you're like, this is not anywhere the way it was advertised, or this is
no.
not. And that happens sometimes. And I just think it's just because the test environment to the actual environment is so much different.
Yes, I also think it's on the other side of that is from a consumer standpoint. 9 times out of 10, every single
It's
time,
it's
when
it's pretty
something
much every
shows
single
up,
time.
they want their bowling ball to hook. They do not want it to go straight. So if I'm a bowling ball company and I want to sell a lot of bowling balls, I'm going to make sure every bowling ball, top to bottom, hooks. Like try, So that's where 9 times out of 10, when I haven't liked the bowling ball, it's because it hooked more than I needed it to. Not that it went straight or did. It's always that it hooked more than I needed it to hook.
There is one ball ever that I did not like because it did not hook enough. That's it. Every other
I'm
ball, it's been fine.
God, I wish I could remember that. I know I probably know what it is, but
I don't care. It's the timeless. I don't even care.
uh,
Lewis is gonna find it hilarious. It's fine. Like it that one just didn't hook enough for me. Every other ball I've ever thrown in my entire life has hooked enough for me, and I haven't liked the ball because it either hooks too much or just the way it hooked that didn't fit my eye. But like I said, no ball is bad. I think I
correct.
think that's I think that's something that we really have to talk about. No ball is bad,
Yeah.
and it's all about the shapes you like to see and stuff like that. And this is a perfect segue into the part of the
Yes.
conversation that Queso wanted to talk about, um, that some people might not disagree with or not might not like or anything like that. But I hear it all the time.
All the
How
time.
good would EJ Tackett be if he threw a different company? Hear it
Let's
all
just
the
call a spade
time.
a spade. How good would EJ be if he threw storm balls? That's what everyone says. They don't
That's what
ever say
everybody
EDI
says.
balls.
Yeah,
They say, how good would he be if he threw storm balls?
and I just don't think it's relevant because for the
Yeah.
same things that we've talked about this whole video, a little bit in the last video, you bowl you bowl with what fits your eye. And as long as your eye and your hand are communicating properly, the ball is irrelevant. I'm
Correct.
seeing my ball do this. It's doing this. I am executing that and I am making changes according to what my ball is telling me. I am executing properly, I'm reading the data properly, and I am making changes to that data properly. That's it. It's ones and zeros after that.
Yeah.
There's really no it would he bowl good with storm balls? Yeah. He's amazing.
Exactly.
I he's amazing. We talked about Sean Rash in the last video. He went from Brunswick to Global. Global has stormish covers. That is
Yeah.
and he went from having a great season to starting off the season unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, AJ went from Storm 2 years ago. AJ Johnson Storm 2 years ago, was it, or three years ago? I don't know if he was on
No,
EBI for 1 2 years.
he
I'm
was
not
on EBI
sure.
for almost the whole season. Actually, it kind
Okay,
of got
so
cut
so
short by
yeah, so it was Storm, EBI, and Motiv.
yeah.
He's
He made
had
a, he made,
a pretty good run at it the whole time, and he's having an unbelievable season this year because
yeah.
he's just seeing the pitcher properly.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah. Not a lot of people give EJ enough credit for like how good he is. People always talk about how much you can hook it, how much you can hit it, but if you really watch him, he gets it off his hand clean. He is very good at changing his hand. People don't really notice that, but when he's on TV, he'll tuck his pinky on, tuck his pinky, he'll close down his finger, he'll get around it more, he'll roll it more, and he's very good at doing that because, like you said, he knows how to make the picture what he wants to see. And that's the little nuance people miss. He's led tournaments before and lost on TV. It's a one game
A
match.
lot, a lot,
You know,
a lot. A
it,
world championship twice. Back in
yeah, it,
2015, he led the whole thing, lost in the final match. This
to
year,
Gary.
he should have led the whole thing. That's a different conversation. But he finished second, or he
Yeah,
qualified second, and then I
yeah,
think he lost to Simonson. And
correct. And he's already Hall of Fame eligible. I mean, people are comparing him to Belmo because Belmo throws storm. They throw it. They both have high rev rates. They both like to, whatever they like to do. But at the end of the day, a bowler is themselves.
Yep.
They're not like anyone else. Just because they have a high rev rate like somebody else, that doesn't make them like someone else. Just because you throw it like bowler A doesn't mean that you need to go throw his company. Everyone does it differently. Even if the numbers match, even if your ball speeds, whatever, everyone does it differently. Everyone has a different thing they like to see. So the whole, would EJ be better? It really, like you said, it really is irrelevant. That guy is absolutely incredible. And he doesn't get enough credit for how good he is because people are shrouded in it's the bowling balls that are making him not win. No, it happens. It's bowling. It's just how it happens.
Bowling is so hard to win a tournament at home. And at every level, it gets exponentially harder because you have a bigger pool of better bowlers. Winning on tour is impossible. It's impossible. I have no problem saying it's impossible because it's impossible.
Yeah.
My good buddy Christian Escona, when he won that title, I will quote him right here. He said, "I did the impossible." Okay?
Literally.
It's impossible. Most bowlers feel it's impossible. It's so incredibly hard to win any tournament, tournament, and then at that level. So just as EJ, it doesn't matter what he throws. It doesn't matter what Belmo throws. Belmo is storm balls don't make Belmo good. Let's just it is not the balls.
Yeah, that guy is absolutely incredible. How many titleists, how many like 1 or 2 time titleists are there on tour? How many guys are there that have never won that are arguably incredible? Like how have they not won yet, or how did they only win once, or how did that guy not have more titles? Like Bill O'Neill just got to 10 titles like last year, whatever it was, and he is unbelievable.
Incredible.
Yeah. How did he only win 10 times? Because I think he's up to like 11 or 12 now. Because it's that hard. We're spoiled by seeing Belmo do it, but Belmo is exponentially that much better most of the time, And when he's not,
I
he's
have
still
no
close.
problem saying Belmo is exponentially better than everyone on tour right now for the last 5 years. I have no problem saying it. You can hate me. I have no problem saying it. He's out-averaged everybody by 5 or more pins for like 3 years in a row. That's
but he doesn't have his
obscene.
thumb in it, man.
Yeah, it's totally unfair.
But what's funny
cheater.
to me, what's funny to me is people will say two-handers, two-handers, two-handers. You never hear Sean Maldonado get anything for that because he puts his thumb in it.
Yep.
And then on the other side of that, you don't hear Tom Doherty get anything for him, and he's exactly the same, but without his other hand on the bowling ball. You never hear Tom or Maldonado get anything.
Yeah. I think that's an incredible point. It's better than that. This argument's better than that because no one gave a crap when it was Osku that made a TV show.
Yeah, they were marveling over what he was doing.
Yeah, look how amazing this guy is. And then Belmo comes in, and just because he is better than everybody else, now it's a problem. Mm-hmm. I just disagree.
No one gives Kyle any flack or Simon.
Yeah, we have to appreciate how amazing it is. We're watching the Tiger Woods of our sport right now. We're living the generation that our sport has a Tiger Woods. Mm-hmm. You could say it was Walter, but he was just so consistent and put himself there. Like, I'm sure he dominated. I mean, I don't know. You would know better about the old history of you're insane with that, but so I don't know how much he dominated average-wise or if he ever, but what Belmo's doing right now in the short amount of time, just the majors. The dude just wins every major he puts in. He made every major show this year. Mm-hmm. Every single one.
I saw an argument that people are like, well, a major is just like a regular tournament. They're bowling just with more games. I'm like,
that's the point. That the more games. The more games thing is what makes it harder. If you notice, the shorter events, the shorter formats is when Belmo tends not to do as well. Because
he didn't make a single regular World Series bowling show.
Well, we don't. He made a cut. We don't know.
We don't know
that yet. He made cuts.
No. Yeah, he made cuts, but did he make one of the shows? Did he make one of the animal pattern shows?
Did you not know what happened? There's a pandemic going around. They canceled it.
No, but like they already had the finalists set, didn't they?
No, they didn't. They canceled the match plays.
Oh, I thought they canceled the recording of the shows. I didn't know they canceled the match plays.
Yeah, they canceled the match plays. They only had They only did the World Championship show because that was all done. They had those 5 guys already.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Roast them twice, everybody. Roast them again.
Sorry, I was busy doing stuff, like trying to learn how my bowling ball rolls down the lane now.
But yeah, so bowling balls are irrelevant to anybody. It's all about how you throw it. And
Mhm.
my mind about that. Change my mind. You can't. It's all about how you throw it. And that's coming from a person that spent plenty of time blaming the bowling balls. We're bowlers. We all blame things we shouldn't blame. I mean,
Oh God, yeah.
I've blamed ridiculous things. Um, I've blamed the
I've blamed my
jalapeno
shoes.
before. I've blamed the jalapeno before. So I've blamed some ridiculous things. Shout out Kevin Fisher, jalapeno story.
Oh, good
Yeah,
lord, that's funny. We got to get
no,
Kev on here. He's
we do
got a
gotta get
very
Kev on
interesting
here.
opinion as well.
Yeah, we do. Um, but yeah, bowling balls are. It's all about how you throw the balls, man. It's all
Mhm.
about how you throw the balls.
And we're fortunate enough to know a couple of the guys that are on tour, so we get a little insight on what they're doing. Like we get to ask them. We know a couple reps on tour, so we get that aspect of it. We get to ask questions, and it's a really good for us not being able to be out there for work, money, whatever the reason may be. That's the closest thing we're going to get. So I think it's really awesome that the bowling community is as close as it is, that we get to ask those guys a little piece of what's going on out there, so we're better prepared. You know,
Yeah,
uh,
because we're pretty much we're like we consider both of ourselves full time bowlers, right? But mostly it's pro shop. It's I bowl every regional. Queso tries to bowl every regional. We bowl all the local stuff like that.
Mhm.
So there's just different levels to bowling, and out there is so much different. So you want
Mhm.
to have as much data as possible when you go out there because it's just so hard.
Mhm.
It's just so hard. So if you can pick a guy's brain here, hey man, what's going there? Because I mean, obviously, I watch all of flow bowling. Just try to learn as much data as possible. So I'll text any whoever is bowling and be like, what are you seeing? Why are you seeing that? Why is this happening? Just so I can learn more as much as I can without being there,
Yeah.
just because it helps.
Yeah. I mean, I've gotten the comment, like, why do you practice so much? You're not bowling as much as what you could or whatever. You just bowling league or just bowling local stuff. But for me, it's I- I'm practicing for two reasons. One, I absolutely love bowling. It's given me everything that I have in my entire life. It's given me the money to buy a car and get an apartment. It's given me friendships with you that it's lasted for 13, 14 years. I've met so many people. I've learned so many things. It's given me a career throwing a bowling ball and drilling bowling balls. It's given me everything. So I practice because I absolutely love the sport. And no matter how many times I say I want to quit or I don't think I'm good enough, I can never stop throwing a bowling ball.
I have never said I wanted to quit before.
Man, you lied to our subscribers, man. What are you doing?
Never said I wanted to quit.
And the second reason I practice is because when it is my time, and I do believe I'm going to have a chance when I'm going to be able to go out on tour, I want to be as ready as I can possibly be to take that opportunity and take it as far as I can. You know, it's it's been a dream of mine since I was a kid. I mean, when I first started learning how to bowl and I watched PBA Classic and I was watching Parker Bowen and Earl Anthony and the lefties back then, and just people went on tour and learning about it and meeting you and meeting everyone that's good. Like I want to be the best, even if it's for a tournament. I want to say that I was the best for however long it could be.
I would gladly take one amazing tournament on tour. I mean, that's
And no one can take that away from you. So,
yep.
like, that's
Once you get
why I
that banner, man.
practice. Yeah, that's why I practice. For whenever my shot may be. If it's when I'm 30 and more financially stable and things work out a little better, if it's next year, if it's when I'm 30, whatever it is, I want to be ready. So I didn't leave. I can put everything out there. I didn't leave anything behind to be able to live out my dream to the best of my abilities because I want to enjoy it. And I think just you got to be. Yeah, I just want to enjoy it as best as I can. So
Oh no, exactly.
so
So I guess
the
that,
rest
that
of
that's a good segue into the last part of the thing that we wanted to cover was the futures of the goal, our future goals and stuff like that. Which is pretty much, I mean, for me, I'm kind of like slow and steady wins the race kind of attitude. Like
yeah.
I'm not just running out to tour. I like bowling the regionals. I like bowling low stuff, local stuff, regional stuff, amateur events. I love all that stuff too because there's a lot of good bowling and good bowlers on the amateur level that just we don't see that no one really sees.
Yeah.
It's awesome,
Yeah.
and so I really enjoy that a lot. And then I like the pro shop business, man. It's an interesting side of it. It's definitely an
Yeah.
interesting side of it.
Yeah, for me, I don't feel like I work a day in my life. Like I might get, a little annoyed or, but there's nothing else I could see myself doing. Literally, I couldn't see myself sitting in an office. I couldn't see myself. I don't know. I enjoy it so much because I
I've
get to.
actively laughed at the idea of you having a real job, so I think that's fair.
For those of you that don't know, I've had one job in my entire life. I started working in a pro shop when I was 16 years old. That is the only on the books job I've ever had in my entire life, and I'm so grateful that I got that from bowling. And when I was 10 years old, I started, and I could have just stopped, but I kept going, and it turned into what it is now. So, and now
Good
we're on
times.
YouTube.
Hopefully. Oh, I just want to say, because that pretty much covers everything. I don't know how long did we do. This was pretty decent. Did we
The
get to like
call's been going
45
on
minutes
for an
again?
hour. Over that because we were like 8 minutes in when we started recording because we were discussing stuff. So like
Oh
15
wow.
minutes.
Oh, that's awesome. See, and
Super
like,
quick.
we're doing this just to share because we should have done this a long time ago, but
Mhm.
I'm shy, and that's just why it took me so long to do it. But I'm finally here at the age of 30. Thank you, everybody. So like, we just yeah, thank you. Right. We just wanna share it. So I appreciate all the feedback that I have gotten, the text messages and
Yes.
everything like that. It was crazy. It was super cool, and I want that to keep coming. I really like everyone's criticisms and everyone's opinions. I love that. I love mixing everyone's opinions together and just coming up with something better, because I feel like that's when you get really good stuff, when you get a bunch of opinions together and just and it's just shared. I really enjoy that. So
Yeah. And you and I we like to better ourselves in anything that we do. So we are trying to create the best product that we can for you guys,
exactly.
and it's going to take a little while, but the feedback was so overwhelmingly positive, which I
Yeah,
thought was it
it
was
was crazy. It was
everyone loved
awesome.
it right off the bat, and I felt a little kind of nervous and stiff, and you were doing the editing thing and making it all fit right together, but you guys enjoyed it, and that's really what we're here for. So thank
I'm
you, all of
super
you.
new to editing, so it's going to be terrible for a while. So, awesome.
All right, so you want to call it here?
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Yep. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that. Check out 12bagger.com and Gerald, everyone over there. And hit the notification bell down below, guys, to make sure that you get notified whenever we come out with a new video.
Listen to him. He's better at that than I am. All right. Bye.
See ya.
Why is it still recording? Stop.